Wayne Spooney here for First to the Floor, and like I believe Mike Piazza in front of or Mark McGuire in front of Congress. I'm not here to talk about the past. We're here to talk about the future. We're here to talk about Game 3. I got Jake Eisenberg here as always, and of course, one of our favorite guests. He was just on, becoming a familiar face. Barstool Greeny. Greeny, what's up?
How you guys doing?
Not great.
Not great.
Not
Terrible.
I warned you. That's all I'm going to say. I warned you.
I feel like we were all kind of agreed that we weren't like. Oh, Spoony wasn't actually. No, Spoony
I
was like we're gonna
Celtics at 5. These bums.
I was closer to Greeny than to Spoony, but I'm scared. I didn't think it would be the exact same, but also worse in Game 2 immediately. But here we are.
Here we are. One apiece.
Yep. So let's jump into it. Greeny, what's your like worried meter at? Ben is our fearless leader here. He is sort of our bellwether for worries. He's our kind of our anxiety paragon. So 1 to 10 being a Ben Vallis. Where are you on the worry meter?
At 8:00 on Friday, maybe like a 4. But if they lose Game 3, I mean, NBA history says tied 1-1. The team that wins Game 3 wins it 75% of the time. I think you'd probably go up to like a 6. Should they lose Game 3? Because I mean, then you're just looking at it like, okay, they now need to win 3 of the next 4. And while that's certainly possible, I mean, you're always susceptible to the dark magic Miami Heat 3-point shooting game. And I'm not going to be of the belief that we're not going to see that again. I think we will see a high volume 50% 3-point game. We saw it in Game 3 last year when they first went to Miami. You remember the Heat scored 30 in the first quarter. Gabe Vincent had like 29 points and 6 threes. Duncan Robertson hasn't had his 3-point, barrage moment yet. So I'm just of the faith that you have to take both in Miami. You have to come back with this. I would say if they don't take both in Miami, this is probably going to go 7, just due to some fluky ass shit that we are just going to have to live through.
Jake.
I can't believe we have a must-win this quickly into the playoffs.
I mean, it's not, but it is. You know what I mean?
It's not, but it is.
Yeah.
It's not a must-win technically, but like it's going to be really bad if they lose Game 3. As soon as you go down 2-1, the chance of it not going 7 if you want to win the series feels pretty low, just because like that's what they do. Man, I can't believe it's a carbon copy.
They won both in Miami this year.
Yeah.
They won their last 2 playoff games. So it's not an insurmountable hurdle.
No.
But it's the same thing we said before the series. Can they limit points off turnovers? Can they make their open threes? And, will the defense show up? If you do that, you can easily win on the road. The problem is you now just gave this team all the confidence in the world. You're going to get that boost from, the first home game the same way the Celtics had it. So, what happens if they have that first 18-point quarter to start the game? Then are you going to be able to stop that momentum, if the Heat have it going?
Yeah, I think that's the most concerning thing for me is that you just let Miami believe they can beat you. Like coming off of Game 1, when you extend that lead back out to 20 after they come back, if you just came out and like whipped their ass in the first half of Game 2, I feel like this is a sweep. Or maybe 5 games, but now Miami, like they are full of irrational confidence, guys. Like that is their entire team. Like Haywood Highsmith believes he's Klay Thompson. Like, I mean, so now that they believe that they can win, that is the most terrifying thing to me. Like talent be damned. Like that is what the black magic is. That Spo puts all of these guys in their best positions to be as successful. He wrings every ounce of talent out of every single player that's on the Miami Heat. And that's friggin' terrifying, dude. I'm at a 6 already, I think.
I think that's a little overrated, right? Like they had 21 wide open threes in the first game and they hit 33%. Yeah. So where was all he puts his guys in if they shoot 45, like a normal insane percentage, they probably come up with 4 to 5 less threes. So it's like did he put them in a different position as opposed to game one? Or did they just shoot at a higher volume and make a higher percentage of their open looks, right? Like, I'm wary of that because the idea of the Celtics baiting them into threes and all that, they were right around their season averages in terms of their open threes allowed.
Yeah.
The difference, of course, is they shot 65%. Well, I mean, if they're going to shoot 65%, then it's another series against this team that just wasn't meant to be, but I don't know.
I just think how long it's been going on, it's got to be Spo. But go ahead, Jake. Sorry.
I was saying, we don't need to talk about how it's happened 4 times to the Celtics in like the span of how many playoff games?
9 games. 4-9 or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, which, I mean.
Nuts, dude.
That is so fucked.
Yeah, to me, it was like no other team in the entire league has more than one of these.
Yeah.
And they've done it 4 times against one team. Like, what the kind of shit is that?
Yeah. So, like, I think it's, like they go back and watch the film and Spo's like, all the shots you didn't take, like the ones that Caleb Martin, in particular, like passed up a couple ones, like you could just tell the mentality for game 2 was different. It was like any sliver of space, they're firing, and like that's the game plan. It's like they spent 2 days drilling it into every single player, being like, this is what you have to do. Like they came into game 1 kind of with a short turnaround after the 2 playing games, maybe a little mentally worn down, and then they come out in game 1 and that kind of expected to happen. Then they have 2 days to just be like, go out there and let this thing fly. Like we know we can do it. We've done it 3 times already. Just go out and do it one more time.
Let's be honest. We were beaten by Missoula ball. I mean, that's what it was. It was, who cares about the paint? And in 2024, if your opponent is shooting threes at a high volume and making them at a high clip, you cannot trade that with efficient paint play. It's just, what does Missoula say? It's just math, right? So for me, that was the more concerning part. Is even if you're saying the Heat were, more concerned of running them off the line, find a way to generate your threes, because the Heat are going to shoot. They're going to spam threes the rest of this series. That is their strategy. If you go back to the last game 1 of last year's Eastern Conference Finals, it was the same thing we saw. The Celtics had 61 points in the paint, but they were killed in 3-point volume, and they lost that game by like 7 or 8 points. It's the same thing. It's simple math. It's what we've based our entire existence on, is the fact that your opponent isn't going to be willing to match your 3-point volume. And if they do, they're not going to be able to hit it at a 38% clip. If they do, if you're not shooting threes, you're going to lose.
Yeah, this is the perfect segue. Sorry, Jake, did you want to jump in?
No, I was going to start addressing what I'm assuming you're going to ask. So yeah.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about Game 3 and adjustments. And I think unequivocally, Spo sent way less help in Game 2 than Game 1. Like Tatum on the catch, every time it felt like he basically automatically got a double in Game 1. He just made the right play, and we had an open 3. That was shut off in Game 2. So how do you attack this version of Miami? Because they're switching more, and they're just kind of loath to send hard help. Like they were digging down a little bit and kind of cheating on post-ups, but we really didn't see any hard doubles or anything like that. And Jake, go ahead.
Yeah, I think that they're going to do what they did defensively again. And this team is really good defensively with or without Jimmy Butler. I looked at the numbers with and without Jimmy Butler on the court this year. The defensive rating is like pretty much identical. They're a top 5 defensive team because of Spo and Bam. Like Jimmy's obviously a good defender. He missed 22 games this year though. And so they are going to be like really well connected. And they just switched everything last game. And like in theory, that's great. We've been like just dominating switches. KP really struggled to get the ball cleanly. And then they started forcing it to him. But I think we have to flip it on them, because I actually think they're going to do a pretty good job of keeping our 3-point volume down. Because if they're going to just keep switching everything, you're just not going to get the same level of ball movement and same level of wide open threes as you're going to get as if they're just playing like drop and then help comes. Like they were like, you got to beat us 1-on-1, and then we're going to we're going to dig down. There's like some clips of like Bam being a help guy, and that's when they're really dangerous and the turnovers start to happen. They did a good job not turning the ball over. But if they're going to switch everything, if they're okay switching everything, if they're okay switching Highsmith, Harquez, Hero, Robinson onto Tatum, Jalen, Porzingis, we need to also be okay switching Porzingis onto Harkes, Caleb Martin. Like I onto Hero. We can't have Hero going off for 25 plus and 14 assists. Like is Hero going to have 40 points on 30 shots? I don't think so. Please let's try switching Porzingis onto Hero. I do not think that he is going to be capable of cooking him over and over and over again. And even if he is, the 3-point numbers are going to be way lower. So I think this is all about the defense. I think they're going to give us problems on the for our offense again, just because that's just what they do. I think we can be better, but I think defensively is you just switch everything. Then they won't be able to get nearly as many threes up.
Yeah, I would mostly agree. I would just say the way that you counteract what Miami's doing is you actually get something from the guy who you traded for to break switches, right? Like you can try to think of different schemes or whatever. It comes down to if Porzingis has Tyler Hero on him, that's a matchup he has to win. If he has any other player, smaller player, I should say, other than Bam Adebayo, that's a matchup he has to win. So you're not going to beat any variation of their defense if he's going 1 for 9, missing all of his shots in the paint, and is getting pushed off his spot, and you can't even throw an entry pass to him, right? Like, I think it's more just about getting what you expected when you traded for him. And then defensively, I think not only is it maybe switching that screen or hedging it, just trying something other than drop coverage. But if you go back and you watch it, you can see how much they helped on drives instead of just trusting Porzingis as the weak side help to come and protect the rim. And that is why you traded for Kristaps Porzingis, right? So like if Tyler Hero is going to, drive the paint and finish over Porzingis, you live with it. What you can't do is have Drew roaming and helping strong side, Jalen helping strong side corner and leaving Jovic or whoever, in the corner, whether it's Caleb Martin or Highsmith. Those were how those role players started to feel good about themselves. Instead, if Tyler Hero throws up some junk and you miss it, well, now you get the rebound. Now you can get out in transition. You don't have to worry about the defense and the half-court magic. So I think not over-helping on drives and kind of taking a page out of the Heat's playbook and staying home and trust your individual defenders, right? Like Porzingis is so good at challenging without fouling. You have to let him at least have a chance at it as opposed to over-helping and giving up these open threes that they've proven they can make.
Yeah, offensively, Tyler Heroes ran 33 pick and rolls in this series. Jason Tatum's ran 15. Tatum's got a 1.27 points per possession on those, which is like elite. It's really awesome. I want us to give the ball to Jason Tatum more. He is the guy to me. There's nobody on this team that can guard him other than Bam Adebayo. So like run some of those goofy pick and rolls where Derek sets the screen for Tatum or Drew sets the screen for Tatum and just kind of let Tatum go to work a little bit, because if he can consistently get downhill, they're going to start having to send help and start having to send doubles to him. And then boom, we're right back to that game one offense. So I'd like to see that adjustment is like, just let your superstar be the superstar. He's like way down on time of possession when he has the ball and average dribbles per possession. Like I don't want him to dribble the air out of the damn ball, but like put him in pick and roll, let him pick this Miami defense apart.
I just saw that too.
You see that? Oh my God. What a shot. That was like the Celtics freaking
Middleton just hit like a 32-footer with 1.4 on the shot clock to tie it to go to
brutal,
overtime.
dude. Yeah, I just saw the replay. After Neesmith was ice at the line too, my guy.
God, that was PTSD all over again. That was
Honestly
like the same
similar.
freaking spot.
Yeah, get a hand up. Get a hand up, Neesmith.
Oh my God.
That's right.
And then I guess defensively, I want to see Jalen on Tyler Hero because they've been exploiting the shit out of Jalen as a help defender. Like the second he just like turns his head and gets bored or whatever he does as a help defender, the pass is to his man and it was an open 3 in game 2. So like just throw him on Hero, just like go get him. You're the Rottweiler. Just stick on his belt every possession. That's the only thing we're not going to switch. Like you just stick with Tyler Hero. We'll hedge on screens so you have time to get back over the top, and then let Drew and Derek White be the low help defenders because they're just way better at it than Jaylen Brown is. So that's like the big switch for me on the defensive end.
Yeah,
I would
Tyler
also
Hero had a game.
to that point though. I would also say you have to, even in your non pick and roll sets. There were way too many times that whether it was Al or Porzingis, they were just way too low just on the catch. I think that it was more like they were almost surprised that the Heat were willing to shoot it. If the idea is make the Heat beat you with twos, make them show that they can execute enough in the half court by putting the ball on the floor to where if you have to overextend where you're guarding maybe a little bit more on an island than you're used to. I know that a slower player like Al, that puts you at the risk of being in rotation, but there's no more of this 8 feet between when they're catching the ball. Like, I get it. Even in things that aren't drop coverage, there's just way too much space. And I think that's the easy, correctable thing. Like, okay, move up 2 feet and just, take away that pull-up three and make them make a play.
Absolutely. Like, so many times Al was too low. Man, it was just really sloppy defensively. It felt like miscommunications all over the place. Like, guys were getting caught. Like, this is one of the best screen navigation teams in the NBA all season long. Derek White, Drew Holiday. Drew was kind of a mess defensively too. Like, we realize he's having the series we were all nervous correct.
about. Right?
Yep.
37% effective field goal percentage now.
This is it.
37.
This is what game 2 was. The playoff fears coming to life. You had the Missoula lack of in-game adjustment. You had the Porzingis no-show, horrific. What the hell is this? And then you have the Drew, who is shooting 30% from the floor and just wasn't effective at all defensively. Those were each one of the concerns that I think we all had when this team was first formed. We said the test will come in the playoffs. These guys have never had to produce on this level for this team. Game 2, I think, is what the worst case scenario looks like.
Yeah, Drew, like, if he's going to be bad offensively, like, I going into this was like, I can live with that if he's going to be elite on the other end. Like, the problem was he was
one. Like his game one. Yeah.
Fantastic. But like there was one possession where Drew's like up the top and Tatum like saves Drew on 2 different occasions in one possession to get in front of the guy. And then the ball gets swung around and Tatum almost gets back to the third guy to contest. And Drew's just like jogging over to Highsmith and like doesn't even get a hand up.
It felt like Spo realized that he was playing the free safety and found a way. Because how many times did we see the ball eventually find, like you'd see Drew sort of cheat into the paint, quick ball movement. Now he has to, rush to a closeout in the corner, quick pump fake. You have Highsmith, wide open 3. He makes it. So I think you got to bail on that free safety role and you got to just start guarding straight up.
Just guard your guard. Look, I'm sorry. We've got Derek White, Drew Holiday, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum. Like name the best defenders in the NBA. It's Minnesota and these guys, and like across the board, like play it straight up. Again, like I said, you got to switch everything, but you're right though. Like play the drop coverage, but just play it the way you've been playing it all year long, and like get over the screens. Keep the ball in Tyler Hero's hands. Don't overhelp. Like Derek White, get over the top. Jaylen Brown, get over the top and make Tyler Hero uncomfortable. Tyler Hero's not good. I'm sorry. We just let him I saw it was like by far the most efficient pick and roll game of his career.
It was like 1.39 points per possession. During the season, he was 0.99. It was it's not even remotely in the same stratosphere.
It's just not good enough. It's not good enough.
But you know what it looked like? It looked like Steph Curry in the finals.
Yeah.
That's what it looked like.
He's not Steph Curry, though.
I know. The way that they were exploited was very reminiscent of it. And honestly, there weren't even, I'd have to go back and look, but it did not feel like to me that the majority of their open threes came off a pick and roll ball handler in drop coverage. Like there was one with Tyler Hero right before the half. I remember taking a screenshot of it because I tweeted it out. These were like weak side help issues, rotating off the strong side corner, and then low pickup points. Like you had the Hero transition 3 with Porzingis where he was like pointing to Al. Like there was just miscommunication there. Like I just think it was more baiting of like, we're not even going to challenge or close out hard as opposed to getting killed, like Al just getting abused and dropped like we saw with Steph. It's just you also have to realize they're going to get a ton of open screens off Bam, a ton of open looks off running off Bam's hip. And there's no defense unless you hedge that screen and cut that off. You're just going to give up 10 to 12 open looks a night just off Bam's hip.
Yeah. I wonder, okay, so this is kind of a hot take. Is there some wisdom to not overreacting? I think a lot of the stuff we're saying is it's just dumb defense to help when Porzingis has a drive covered. There's just no reason to come out of the corner and help on that. But also a Haywood Highsmith above the break three, even lightly contested, is kind of a good defensive possession for us. Is there something to maybe not overreacting to them being extremely hot for one game? And I'm pretty sure I said this exact sentence four times last playoffs.
I mean, there is to a degree because they had a similar approach in game one and they won by, they had a 30-point lead. In that game, the variance worked in your favor. I think you're still, if you have to pick your poison, I think you're still going to want a Highsmith 30-footer, I just think you have to be better with how you can have that be the shot that the Heat end up with, and you can still defend it better, right? So I think it's not so much they have to completely change and overreact their scheme. They just have to play their scheme to the potential that we've been watching for the last 6 months, right? And I think it's not making off-ball mistakes. It's having clean possessions. It's not having live ball turnovers. It's having good shots offensively. Where I think they're going to overcompensate is the three-point. I think they're going to take 23s in the first quarter. And if they start slow, that's when you're going to start to see that, now you're in a dogfight. I think defensively, it's going to be, okay, we know, these are the mistakes and these are how we can correct it. We're not going to get away from what we do. Offensively, I think you're going to see, what was that KP 35-footer? I think you're going to see, stuff like that.
That is concerning, trying to force the issue out the gate in game two. I don't know. It's going to be it is really interesting. Hey, man, this could be a moment one way or another. Well, it's going to be a moment one way or another, right? Is this going to be, here we go again? Or is it going to be this team's different? Because throughout the regular season, I go back to the Warriors game that they blew in Golden State. They were up 18 points in that fourth quarter. They blow that game. And then the year previous, that was basically the end of them being dominant for the rest of the year. They were 21-5 in the first Missoula year. And after that Warriors loss, they never really regained that level of play. But they lost that Warriors game. They spanked the Clippers. They spanked the Kings. They spanked the Lakers. And then they were on the way to just for the rest of the season being dominant. There was all year long losing to Denver, blowing the lead to Cleveland. Every time there was a moment, they responded by having a 5-game winning streak, 8-game winning streak. Is it going to be that? The problem is it's one game. In the regular season, it's okay, even if the next game doesn't go well, if we win the next, I guess if you win the next 6, then who cares if you win? But it's just the psychology is just completely different in the playoffs because it's there's not 30 games left. It doesn't matter if we go 25-5 in the next 30 if we lose the next 3. So, but this team back against the wall all the way back to the Udoka year has been excellent. So if we can get that bounce back Celtics, I think we could be okay.
And I think you also have to remember, even in the playoffs, this team doesn't have a lot of 2 losses in a row, right? There's the finals, there's the Eastern Conference Finals. Last year, I'm trying to think if they lost 2 in a row in Philly, but I don't think they did, right?
No, it was 1-1, then it went 1-1, 1-1 each.
Right, it alternated. Historically, you want to be the first team to win 2 in a row. It's very seldom. Yep. I mean, we've seen a couple, right? The Bucks won the title down 2-0. They came back against the Nets 2-0. It does happen, but more often than not, especially in series that the Celtics are playing in, the first team to win 2 in a row is going to win the series. So I think, that gives you confidence for game 3, where, they're very, very, I think what's their record after losses? 14-4 or something like that? I don't know. It's got to be something something pretty good. Like
Of course,
they know how to stop the bleeding. Their problem has been once you stop the bleeding, the next step is, okay, we're really going to turn the page and we're going to step on your throat and end the series. So
can we create some bleeding for once?
Right. It's entirely predictable that they dropped a game at home, right? Like only this team could be so good at home all year only to drop a game at home. Like obviously, it's going to be just as predictable if they go in and win game 3. What's going to matter is, can you be the first team to win 2 in a row? And I think if they do that, they'll ride that momentum and close it out in 5.
Oh, I love to hear that. Greeny.
Sounds great.
I love to hear that. Yeah.
That's why I think this is so important. Like I think
Yeah.
if they split, like let's say they lose game 3, but they win game 4, they'll lose game 5. 100%. I think you need the momentum of winning both of these in Miami to say, hey, they got us. They shot 65%. Like we've beaten this. It was the first time that he'd beaten us all year. We're asserting ourselves. If you do that, you're not going to lose game 5 on your home floor. That will tell you if they're different. If they can't win game 3 and 4, I think you're going to, like we've been saying, you're in for a 7-game series.
What happened?
Neesmith dagger 3.
Oh,
Neesmith dagger 3. Up 3.
Hold on, I'm delayed. Hold on. Oh, you just got it.
I risked my analysis.
Right, I'm going to be honest.
I've
I've never seen Neesmith hit a big shot like that. Maybe
That's
whoa, come on.
I mean, he hasn't had many
I
chances
did not know he
to.
was capable of that.
Hey,
He doesn't get
two
traded
big.
for Malcolm Brogdon if he hits that
If
shot.
he was doing that, no, he doesn't. But
We should have never traded him. Bang.
Hey,
Good for him.
he did. That's so. But man, Middleton is going to come right back in your face.
Yeah,
in double overtime.
Oh
here.
my God, he's gonna do it again, isn't he?
Good for him. You know, I'm happy for guys that, you know, put in work,
Absolutely.
get the opportunity, and finally.
It
That's a
it
good
is
shot
funny though
there.
that he like hates us because of
I
us
know.
trading him. I know, but
Well-
it's not we didn't tweet the. I was gonna say it wasn't Barstool. It was Bleacher Report are the ones that tweeted the paperclip thing about how the Celtics.
man.
We loved you.
LeBron
We
called
liked
you a bag of peanuts, bro.
Yeah, dude. We liked you. We sent you to a place that's allowed you to flourish and become the guy that you are. You would never have.
You got him paid.
Yeah, dude. You're welcome. God damn.
Dude,
That
he's
is true.
turned
That is
himself into a
that is a
sick
weird
defender.
beast. Like,
Yeah.
like I get him being motivated on the court, but like he trolls you after. It's like, come on, man, that wasn't my fault.
Yeah. He's like mad at Tatum for some reason. Like Tatum
Yeah.
traded his ass. Yeah.
So he's
All right.
injuring
I
us.
guess we should probably get into an ad read here, and then maybe we'll talk a little bit about the East and get out of here.
Yeah.
Unless either of you guys have any more on Game 3.
Just
All
try,
right.
just fucking bring it, dude. That's like
pray.
just
Bring
bring
it.
it.
Just
Well,
fucking-
also pray. Yeah, pray a lot.
Do you feel like we'll know in the first like 5 minutes if they're like locked in or not?
Well, I already know what. Like, I was thinking about this. I don't know if it was yesterday or the day before. I had a feeling when I woke up that we were going to get the Black Voodoo Magic game. We're getting the tie game, 3 minutes to go.
That's I saw you
You know
tweet
the
that.
thing, we got the Celtics blowout. We got the Black Magic Voodoo shooting game. This is the prove you can beat the Heat in the clutch type game.
Oh
These
my
dudes-
God, he banked it in. Middle.
Hold on. I'm delayed. Hold on. Same fucking
did it again.
spot.
No.
Oh my God.
Bullshit
no.
shot, dude. All right. What a bullshit shot. That is insane, dude.
Poor Neesmith, bro.
I
Oh.
know.
Poor guy. He hits the free throws.
I know.
He's just trying to win the game.
I can't believe he banked that. That is, he didn't call that. That doesn't count.
That's
All right.
crazy, dude. Why did they foul? Up 3. I don't know.
I know. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Carlisle, what a moron.
I guess against Dame, are you worried he just like reads it and pulls up quick, and then you're fouling him for 3? I mean,
Yeah.
I've never seen that happen, but that's the only reason I can think why you wouldn't foul.
Well,
Oh, Middleton. 42
hindsight's
points.
2020. Should have fouled.
Yeah,
That's
should have
right,
fouled,
yeah.
obviously.
Yeah, agreed. All right, we got to get into the ad read.
All right.
Prize Picks is America's #1 fantasy sports app with more than 3 million members. It is the easiest and most exciting way to get in on the action while you watch your favorite sports and players. You just pick more or less on 2 or more player stats and watch the winnings roll in. March is over, but the biggest moments of college basketball tip off in the month of April. Be a part of the action on Prize Picks for both men's and women's college basketball. And get in on the playoff action and win up to 100 times your money on Prize Picks as you and the world's best players take the game to a new level during basketball's postseason. You can even make the play-in rounds seem interesting since we all know the Celtics won't be there. Quick withdrawals, easy gameplay, an enormous selection of players and stat types are what make Prize Picks the #1 fantasy sports app. Personally, I'm looking at Derek White more on points because they are criminally low, and we all know Derek White is going to come up big in the postseason. So download the app today and use code CLNS for a first deposit match up to $100. Download the app today and use code CLNS for a first deposit match up to $100. All right, this is going to be a really terrible podcast, probably.
You killed me behind you.
Oh my God. Tyrese.
Hold on. See, just crossing half court. Oh, Shakes Beverly. Wow.
Got it.
Yeah, but there's time on the clock. Middle.
I know.
They fouled him. Oh my God.
I have it on mute. I don't know what.
I didn't realize. He's at the line now.
All right.
right.
Oh, wow. So he's for 3.
Surely Middleton can't do 3 threes at the to extend this thing. Surely.
All right. Would you foul?
Sounds like us with the Heat.
Would you foul?
Now it would foul. Now it would foul with 1.6 because they got a timeout left there. So Ben might have to
foul.
Ben might have to cut part of this out of the audio pod because everybody that's in the chat live right now is doing the same thing we're doing.
With
so
us.
So this is
I'm
fun.
like the broke guy on YouTube TV. I'm like, fine. Damn.
Well, I just got the Australian League Pass is ahead of you
Yes,
somehow.
you are in the future.
Yes,
That's right. Yeah, it's tomorrow.
Yeah, the Celtics win Game 3. I promise.
I'm going to fucking hold you to that, Jake. All right. So, hey, next segment, we were just going to do a check-in on the other Eastern Conference playoff series. So, hey, this is perfect opportunity. Indy Bucks 1-1. I have in my notes here that the game should be over by the time we record. Obviously, that wasn't even close. But if assuming, I guess I can't even say assuming Indy wins this game, but assuming Indy wins this game, how are you guys feeling about this series?
This whole thing is the Celtics need to get their shit together because this series is going 7. And even if Giannis comes back, Dame, Middleton are old and they're going to be tired. Knicks, Sixers is a fucking bloodbath. It's just
dude.
I don't know. It's and even the Magic, I think they're going to end up being able to push this thing out to 6-7. But I don't know, Greeny, it's coming in, the path, the path is kind of looking like I thought it might. And it's
You're getting, honestly, it's like you said, they just have to. Another reminder to handle your business. And if you do that, the basketball gods are saying, I've given you hell the last 2 postseasons. Here is your chance, right? I think, I was expecting the Magic to just pack it in and say, hey, we had a good run, but they're a different team at home. And if the Cavs are going to be this fluky, can't trust them type team again, then it might not matter who comes out of that bracket if the Celtics are able to break through. And now that the Sixers have life, I think, their battle is a little tougher because I think it's, they're obviously going up against a better team than, the Magic are. But I don't know. That has 7 games written all over it. And even in the West, the Nuggets are running through. But what if they run into a hot Minnesota team or a hot, Dallas team if they're able to get through? So it's just more clear than ever that, this is when the Celtics have to take advantage because it might never be this open.
Yeah. So Indy just won. So they're up 2-1.
There we go.
Who took the shot? Who took the
Middleton?
You know who took it. Yeah.
Middleton. He almost made it. God damn.
Great contest.
He's a fucking ball lock, dude.
Yeah.
Eastman.
Dude, huge.
He did almost make it.
Dude, he almost made 3 in a row.
Yeah.
Psycho. He had
That'd
42
be
points
insane.
today.
Holy
but yeah, so
shit. I know. I saw you had
yeah.
22 in the third. Sorry, go ahead, Jake.
But this is the thing, though. Obviously, that's the other side of the bracket, and we've all established we're not getting ahead of ourselves from a we need to win this series. Like, this is not a joke. This is like, we're not, taking Miami lightly, but like if you want to talk about winning a title, it's like, okay, the Pacers now have 2 wins. So the Bucks have to in order to win this series, at minimum, it goes 6. And it's like, what are the odds that the Bucks, this doesn't go 7 now, if they're actually going to win the series, versus Indy might just win this thing in 5 or 6 now. And it's like, okay.
I mean, let me tell you, if they win game 4, they're not bringing Giannis back. If Giannis doesn't play in game 4 and they're down 3-1, because like, what are you going to do? You're going to hope that he comes back and then he pops as a kid. Like, this is it. This was the game they had to win. I always thought if they won game 3 without him, you were going to see him in game 4 if he was, game time-ish type health. But I don't know.
I know he's not even running or jumping yet. So like, I don't think he's going to be back for this series. It was more like, if Indy gets through, like, then Indy's through. It's like, yeah, like if Giannis and the Bucks were able to somehow survive that series, it's like, okay, Giannis is still lurking. The Pacers are a cool story, but it's like, if they look like they're probably going to sneak through at this point.
There is always one surprise Eastern Conference team every year, it feels like.
Yeah.
There's one team that sort of goes on a run and comes out of nowhere. A lot of people think it could be the Knicks, but I mean, listen, if the Pacers, if they get through
in 5, and then whoever comes out of the Knicks Sixers series is like, coming out of the infirmary, which they already are, and it's like, if the Sixers come out, like, this Pacers team, while they don't have anyone to guard Embiid, like, good luck to Embiid trying to like hang, conditioning wise with this Pacers team. Like, they can kind of run up and down on that old team. And whereas the Knicks, the Knicks could easily be down 0-3 in this series.
Totally.
So like, I'm not a huge believer in what the Knicks are doing. So like, handle your shit, Celtics.
Right there, man. That's what makes game 2 so fucking annoying, because they win tomorrow, the season's over. If they had just found a way, it's just like, that was their second loss against an East team all freaking year. Like, you couldn't have gotten that second loss in like January and be undefeated in the playoffs at home. Like,
we finally have the home court. Finally have the home court fortress for one game.
Can we talk about Embiid? Like, what was that shit he was pulling in that game, dude? That was insane. Like, he tugs on Mitchell Robinson's leg. He's like, I think he hit 2 players in the balls, and he was crying and whining
himself, right? But like, you pulled the dude down. How are you protecting yourself? Yeah,
I kind of get what he's talking about, because the Kuminga injury was like identical, but he literally pulled Mitchell in the same way that Kuminga fell on him onto the same onto the same knee, dude. Like, I don't know, man. I think Embiid's just operating in a different world at this point. Like, he's got the palsy on the one side of his face. Like, he's limping up and down the court. I don't know how he did this, man. Like, I was watching it like kind of on mute, because I was like watching the draft and also watching the Cavs Magic game. So, you're just like keeping track of a lot of different stuff. And I could see him kind of scoring, but like also a lot of antics going on. And then you tune in and it's like, oh my God, this dude's like about to go for 50. And it's like,
he blew up in the third. Yeah, he blew up in the third quarter. And I mean, his non-ejection was basically the NBA saying, like, all right, we're sorry for game 2. Like, because that was as reckless. I mean, that is the definition of a flagrant 2. But they let him you have to give him his credit. They needed, he talked his talk and then backed it up with a 50 burger. Like, we say when Tatum goes out and does that, like, we give him his respect. I respect him from, his basketball production, but the Bush League stuff is pathetic. I mean, like, that's just how he is as a player in terms of the flopping and the question, all that stuff. The injury thing is like, especially a guy who has had such knee problems, to do that to a guy who just got back from missing 50-something games was awful.
Yeah, Jalen Brunson shooting 35% from the floor in this series. That's insane, dude. I mean,
regular season.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, Ant went 2 of 12 or 3 of 12 and won. Brunson's been winning. I don't ever remember hearing those teams are super teams, but it's an interesting thing, the narratives that exist in the world.
So weird, this team sport where it's like, so Brunson, I actually tweeted this, like, Ant I thought had a really good game. He was 4 for 12, 3 for 12, but defensively was really good. I thought he moved the ball. He didn't let it stick too much. Like all the things I've been saying that Tatum and Ant are actually quite similar. It's just that Ant jumps higher and is funnier, so people just like love him more. But like both prone to inefficient nights, like probably shouldn't be your lead initiators and like are gonna have turnovers. But what makes these guys great and special is that they can have bad shooting nights, but can impact the game as a whole. Whereas like guys like Booker, Brunson, guys that sometimes and the fact that Brunson got thrown into Tatum talks at the end of the season was insane. Because like if Brunson's going to go 8 for 29, I get that the Knicks won, but that was because the Knicks are offensive rebounding 50% of Philadelphia misses right now. It's like Tatum can miss some shots and he can just overwhelm the game still from a defensive rebounding perspective, similar to Ant in some ways, but for just like. But no one, but I don't know. It drives me kind of crazy.
He's the standard. That I take it. Yeah. At first, it really used to bother me. It used to really upset me because I'm old enough to where you had to actually do something before you get like, you know. It just so happened that Tatum entered the league and right away was having big playoff moments and success. Right. That is. It wasn't like, oh, we're giving him all this, praise and propelling him up without a body of work. So it used to really bother me. Now I look at it like when your best player on your favorite team has a good game and the first thing you're doing is thinking about Jason Tatum, I know that I've won. Like, I've won because you are basing your best player. You are thinking about Jason Tatum at all moments of life. Even when your favorite player has a game of his life, you're thinking about Jason Tatum. You don't do that to scrubs, right? Like, people would do that to LeBron and the all-time greats. And, that's just why Tatum's ring is so important because I want to be bulletproof online.
Yep. There's no argument once he gets it.
He has to be a champion.
Yeah, there's no argument once he gets the ring.
Right.
All right, fellas. Yeah. You got anything else for us?
I was gonna say, would you rather see the Magic or the Cavs? Like, if it's I almost didn't want to ask it just because it feels like we're looking ahead in that way. But like,
I still think the Magic, just because I'm a believer in, I always want to. Scoring is hard in the playoffs, and very often the only way we're seeing the Celtics lose these games is if they're dealing with aberration offensive, and while the Magic did just have one of those to beat the Cavs, I do not think that you are the Cavs. I'm a believer in Donovan Mitchell as a playoff riser, last game withstanding. He's someone that has always given the Celtics fits. Quick twitch scoring guards are tough. 2 7-footers, good rim protection. I think, they have Okoro, Karis LeVert, Black Magic. I just think the Cavs have more ways. The Cavs have more ways, I think, to beat you in a series. Whereas with the Magic, it's, they're going to be good defensively. They have length, but I just don't think that they can match you. It's kind of like this Heat team, right? Like, can they consistently be in the 110, 120s that the Celtics should be if they play to their potential?
Yeah, I'm fully on. I would much rather see the Magic. I just like.
Now, here's one thing I forgot to say about the Magic. They have an incredible victory song on their Twitter. The Orlando Magic victory song is like, it's top tier. And that terrifies me. Go Google it. Just Google Orlando Magic.
All right, I'll find it.
It's like, it's elite. And that, I think, it's a factor.
All right.
Big time factor, yeah.
Yeah. What's else? I mean, it was. Are you talking about like the thing that you post on Twitter where it was the Marcus Smart?
Yeah. So like after every one of their wins, they have like who wants to hear the song? It's like a very funny meme, and then their next tweet, it's like a '90s throwback. Like it is very terrifying because those things have power, and theirs is very elite. I mean, they had the best season in their since Shaq for a reason. And it's not because their players took a leap. It's because the song is, it's elite. There's no way around it.
If anything, Franz took a step back. That's how powerful the song is.
Right. Like, he can't make a 3 to save his life, but it doesn't matter. I'm telling you, Google it and you'll see what I'm talking about.
I will
a good place.
definitely check it out. Yeah. I guess on that note, maybe that's where we'll leave it. Hey, Celtics in 5. Greeny, thank you so much. Jake, as always, love your work. We were out.
I love